Welcome back. Today I have a very great endgame study to show you, which is how you can take advantage and win when you have an advantage. Okay, so a lot of times, for example, in this example, and in this example, you're up a pawn, but you fail to convert. And in this example, it is certainly easier to convert. This pawn splits kind of the king. But in this example, it's all very compact, and there's one specific method that will allow you to much easily convert. And I got a recommendation to do a video on this when you're up in material, because my other endgame studies were equal material and how you can kind of do some tricks to get the advantage. But what about when you already have the advantage? How can you just solidify your win and move on to the next game? So let's go ahead and start on this example, which is certainly more easy, but it is still a little tricky. First, 100% you need to recognize that if this pawn is free to promote, then, go promote it, right? Nothing's stopping you, promote it. Here it isn't, and you can easily figure that out using the box method. If you don't know what the box method is, press the little link that's going to pop up right now. Additionally, in the description, I'll leave a little link to the box method. It's very, very important that you know it for endgames and chess. So learn it. But you can easily figure out that this king is in the box and will be able to stop the pawn from promoting. So if it is that case where the king has reach and can stop the pawn, then you don't want to start aimlessly, kind of carelessly pushing your pawn. Because what can happen is something like this, where you just, push your pawn, and what happens is you get to a position where your king no longer has the support on your pawn. Because if we look back at this original position, it looks like your king is, completely protecting your pawn and everything is all right. But when, you then zoom in to how it was before, where it looks something like this, this is much harder for you. You can no longer support the pawn because the king can just cut you off, and after the king captures the pawn, you'll lose your advantage. And sometimes this is okay, because if you play something like this, and your king goes here, you go here, your king goes here, you promote, your king captures. Sometimes this is fine because now you can easily go ahead and try to attack these pawns, grab them, and promote. But sometimes it's not fine. In this example, it was very extreme because, these pawns are completely split. But if this pawn was, here, for example, or here in one of these squares, then by doing this, it's not good. Because once your king is here or here and captures the pawn or here or whatever, wherever it lands, it can sometimes still serve the purpose of protecting this pawn here. So sometimes you need to make sure that if you're going to go for the strategy of kind of, drawing the king away from the protection, then you need to be 100% certain that once your king lands on the landing space or the end spot, you can easily grab these pawns without any, trouble. But if you want to play this more safe, so in this case, it actually is okay to promote. It is still winning for you. But if you want to play it more safe, then what I would recommend is to, number one, centralize your king. Okay, so when your king is centralized, it can serve a very nice purpose of reaching everywhere. Okay, it can reach, here. And when your pawns are so split, sometimes that's important. Here, it's not important to centralize your king because this pawn here is so out of reach for you that when your king is here, it's so hard for you to kind of keep an eye on anything that it could even be worse for you because it allows maybe your king to get into the action, or their king, sorry. And when your king is here, it doesn't always guarantee you to promote freely. So you have to watch out, okay? So in this case, I would recommend just simplifying the board. So playing a move like this, maybe preparing like something like this, and just simplifying some pieces. If your king tries to take it, then you can move your king in to the action. Always try to get your king into the action as much as possible. And now if your opponent plays this move, obviously this is a blunder, you can take. But then if your opponent, plays a different move, like, for example, this, tries to go for this pawn, then you can actually offer a trade. Because one very important key in chess is that when you're up in material, trade down. When you trade down, you simplify the board, and look at how much more pleasing this position is. Even if this pawn is protected, look at how much more pleasing this position is for you than this position. There's a lot more things on the board, and in my opinion, this position right here, let's go back to it. This position right here is a lot more pleasing for you, and a lot, easier. Additionally, I mean, this is completely winning. You can take, but then you take and you promote. So in this position, it was very hard to kind of generalize one good method, because it's such a kind of outreached position. But the key takeaways from this is that centralizing your king generically is good. When you have split pawns, try to either draw the king away or promote if you can, or simplify on the side that is equal in material. Now let's look at this, and this is a little bit more tricky, but it is very easy. It's tricky in the sense that all these pawns here are very close together, and the kings are as well. So here, there's a lot of things that can happen. The king can go here. The king can try to, sway to the a file, or can stay with these pawns. Here, it's a much more generic position, and what you want to do, and this is so fun. What you want to do here is you want to use your king to gain space and gain a position that's better for you. So don't start automatically pushing your pawns up, because what ends up happening is that you lose control of one of your pawns, and the king just slides in and grabs up that pawn, or grabs the pawn here, wherever it is, and it's going to be very, very deadly if that happens to you. It's going to be bad for you, basically. So you want to first take your king and make this king very unhappy. The king can no longer easily come to your own to try to take away our pawns. The king would have to make this huge journey around, which is not pleasant. And then if your king tries to stay attached to their own pawns, you continue moving your king. And you can see that what you're doing is you're pushing the king away from your pawns, and you're putting your king in a position that it looks like it's far away, but it's really not, because as the game continues, you can see how nice a king in this kind of E file, when you're talking about the G and the H files, how nice this king is, because the king can easily come to aid in your progression. And I mean, this is, again, a fairly nice and pleasant position, but generally you want to be able to centralize your king, and just focus on giving your king a position where it can support. Before I end the video, I have two very, very important announcements. The first one is, this is one Endgame video, but I have a full playlist of, 5 other ones, and there's another one coming almost every day, actually, because I post every day, obviously, as you know, and a lot of my videos are about endgame. So if you enjoyed this video and you want maybe some other examples of endgames, maybe when the material is equal, maybe when there's one outcome that, it looks like one outcome will happen, but a different outcome will happen. If you want these kind of tricky positions, then make sure you check out my playlist that will pop up right now on the screen, because it has a lot of chess endgames and more to come every day. Almost. So make sure you subscribe to this channel as well if you don't want to miss every day's videos, a lot of them being endgame videos. The other big announcement I have is that I made a rap the other week, and it didn't do amazing, but it is a rap after all, and I really enjoyed making it, and it was fun, and I think it served the purpose of teaching chess in a more unique and fun way. And so I'm going to be dropping a second rap next week, sometime next week. So make sure you're subscribed so you never miss that rap, because it's a little bit better. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video.